I look at the Dallas Mavericks right now, and Kristaps Porzingis is averaging 20 and 8. And the NBA is such a year-to-year thing for the most part. In some instances, in the Julius Randle's first year with the Knicks, everybody's like, "Oh man, look, the Knicks really gave up KP and got Randle." Second season, Randle All NBA. Oh, look at the Mavericks; they're a laughingstock. Oh, look what they gave up for KP and all this stuff. Then in the third year, it looks like KP is closing up the gap between him and Randle, and it's like, wow, KP looks great again, and Dallas looks great. They are 9-5, but their best wins have come against the Nuggets and Celtics.
Yep.
Frank Ntilikina is starting to solidify a role with this team, shooting 40% from the three-point line, playing excellent defense. Their other wins have come against the Spurs, Pelicans, Rockets, and Kings, so not great wins. They're minus 1.2 in net rating, the 20th in the NBA, 18th in offensive rating, 17th in defensive rating, and 12th in opponents' points per game. Do you think the Mavericks can sustain this? Because I know before the season, at least I was very low on the Mavericks. I didn't think they were going to be that good. So far, they have been better than I expected they were going to be. I think Riv thought the same thing. I'm not sure what you thought. I kind of forgot what you thought about the Mavericks. But we all had them making the playoffs. We just thought they weren't going to be a top 6 seed in the playoffs. At least I didn't. So are the Mavericks proving us wrong so far? Do you think they can continue to prove us wrong?
Yeah, they're definitely, for me personally, they're proving me wrong. You know, I thought they would be an 8th, 7th seed team. You know, I guess the thing, I think what's triggering me the most about why they've been so successful is when Luka goes to the bench, the drop-off isn't what it was before. You know, I think Jalen Brunson being that guy and emerging into that guy, I think that's definitely helped him. Kristaps Porzingis, he's looked good the last 5 games. He's had a more defined role. And the team just looks more, you know, they're 18th to offensive rating, 17th to defensive rating. So they've been middle of the pack on offense and defense. They've just been middle of the pack, and they've been able to grind out and scratch out some wins. A lot of it is Luka magic, and then, you know, the team just helping them out. I think this team, can it keep it going? You know, playing like this, middle of the pack, you know, we still have to wait and see. The Lakers, they've been unhealthy. Tonight they got Phoenix. Luka's doubtful. You know, we don't know. Then they got back-to-back games in Los Angeles against the Clippers. You know, the Clippers have been tough. Then they got Washington, then Cleveland, then the Pelicans twice. So they got some hard games. It's really, you know, wins against the Pelicans, against the Spurs, wins against the King. Their schedule has been okay for the most part. I think keeping it, if they're going to continue this pace, I think we have to see just a little bit more from Luka. That defense has to step up a little bit. You know, middle of the pack can only get you so far, especially when the Lakers, LeBron's eventually going to come back. You know, the Clippers are still good. Memphis is good. Phoenix is good. Jamal Murray eventually is going to come back. You know, Denver, even without Jamal Murray, Denver's good. I believe MPJ is going to pick it up eventually. So Utah is still good. So it's going to be, we're getting into that part of the season where the separation is going to start to happen. And I think Dallas isn't going to separate themselves, but I don't think they're going to fall off. They're probably going to stay within their rights of where they are.
So right now, what are they? The 4th seed in the West right now, correct? I'm almost positive last I checked. But so I went back and to make sure that sure that I wasn't about to lie to you guys. I went to my preseason rankings and I had Dallas at 6. So that top 6, I had them exactly at 6. And it was mostly based off of Luka Doncic being a top 5 at his best player in the NBA. Obviously, Luka has the capabilities of one day being potentially the best player in the NBA, and he's been extremely solid for them, just being Luka Doncic, averaging around 25, his 8 and 7. He's Luka Doncic. Obviously, he's amazing. The question mark was going to be the extracurriculars of the team. Obviously, KP. Obviously, Tim Hardaway Jr. We didn't see Jalen Brunson really taking this leap, this much of a leap going into this season. Obviously, he's been a huge contributor for them as well. But obviously, Kristaps Porzingis is what's allowing this team to gather some wins. Like you mentioned, their only really impressive wins were the Nuggets and the Celtics. But I'll give them credit for that Nuggets win because they got smoked by them the first time they met up. And it was nice to see them bounce back and get that win. Earlier in the season, I was like, I'm not so sure about the Mavs because the schedule was that they had, it was relatively easy. But they're putting up good numbers. 9-5 record this early in the season is obviously good to see. But mostly Kristaps Porzingis having the role that he is having this early in the season, at least. I want to see it sustained for the rest of the year. Because when we saw them at their best that first year together in the bubble against the Clippers, what made them so successful? It was Kristaps Porzingis. As great as Luka is, obviously, he's their best player. You need that second option to release some pressure off of Doncic. And KP was doing that. He gets hurt. The Mavericks really don't look the same. And it was understandable. The next season after that, KP and Luka had some issues, really couldn't get it going because Luka was being a little bit too ball dominant. But this season, we're seeing him actually trust KP. And so I think it is sustainable. I just think that we need to be a little bit more, I wouldn't say we need to be. I just think that they need to be more consistent with this game plan that they have right now. Continue to feed KP. Obviously, let Luka be Luka, but you need that second option. You want to have success, and I think that that's what they'll do.
The Mavericks have been proving me wrong. They have been surprising me so far. And they're another thing that I would gladly be wrong about them. Luka Doncic is one of my favorite players in the NBA. When Harden retires, he's going to be my favorite player in the NBA by far. I'm a Luka fanatic. I love Luka Doncic. He's one of my favorite players. Jalen Brunson has been doing this for a while. It's just now getting recognized. But last year, I made a film analysis on Jalen Brunson because part of the reason why Dallas doesn't drop off that much, even when Luka is off the court, is because of their guard play. And Jalen Brunson last year, per 36, was averaging like 16 and 6 or 16 and 7, somewhere around there. He was just exceptional. This year, when he got the chance to start some games, he really showed out. And even last year when he started, he was amazing.
Definitely.
We know what Luka is. He's giving you 25 a game this year, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He could be a bit more efficient, but Luka has been amazing like always. KP, they are playing him through the paint much more this year. He's getting much more post touches. I think Jason Kidd has kind of brought in a different dimension to what they want to do, both offensively and defensively. And he was somebody that when he got hired as a coach, I wasn't that high on, but I'll be happily wrong about him as well because he's been doing a solid job thus far. Jalen Brunson, 15 and 5, 50% from the field, 35% from 3. His ability to finish at the basket, to blow by defenders, is really great. And this guy right now is relegated to a bench role, but he's a starting point guard. There's no doubt. And he is an above average starting point guard. He is a goddamn good player. At Villanova, he was that as well. I mean, at Villanova, he was a dog. And Tim Hardaway Jr. averaging 15. Ntilikina is finding his role there. Versus the Nuggets, I was watching that game, and Jason Kidd, he went with the small ball lineup in the fourth that really made a run. I think they went on a 17-9 run with the small ball lineup. It featured Jalen Brunson, Hardaway Jr., Finney Smith, Reggie Bullock, and it might have been Dwight Powell. I'm not really sure if it was him. I forgot who the fifth player was, but they're just generating a lot of good shots, a lot of three-point shots, and this team has the spacing to fit around Luka.
Oh, for
If
sure.
KP can stay healthy and be what we thought he was going to be when he went to Dallas, then this is a team that is scary because Luka, we know he's a primetime performer. KP, these past playoffs didn't perform his best, but in the bubble, he was flat out amazing.
Excellent.
So if they have KP playing at that level, the sky is the limit for this team. And look, I like Dallas. I like Dallas a lot. I wasn't high on them coming into the season because in free agency, they didn't do anything. It was Reggie Bullock, Ntilikina, and who else, you know? They really didn't do anything. But they are the Dallas Knicks right now. They have a lot of our players, you know, Hardaway Jr., Ntilikina, Reggie Bullock, Kristaps. This is the Trey Burke. This is the Dallas Knicks right now, and they're playing really great, and they have been proven us wrong. There's no doubt.
It was just one thing to consider was that you have Luka. With that alone, that should be enough to make you at least somewhat successful. Obviously, the West is difficult, and there's a lot of talent in the West. But Luka is a rare breed. He's that type of player that can impact the game so much that it's going to result in wins and it's going to make them a higher seed in the West. So that's why I wasn't overreacting to them not making enough moves, because ultimately, as long as you have Luka, and with the free agency class, I keep mentioning next season, they're going to be in play with that one. They're going to want to spend more money.
They don't have the pick.
No, I'm saying in terms of spending money next season. I don't care about the draft for the Mavs. All good, man. But you have Luka Doncic and you have Kristaps Porzingis. As long as you could have made that work, you didn't really need to go out and spend money needlessly. Would DeMar DeRozan have been nice? 100%.
I don't know. I think if they would have gotten a Kyle Lowry or DeRozan, it takes them over the top.
I think DeRozan, I agree with that for sure. But I don't think they needed Kyle Lowry as much as you would have loved DeMar DeRozan, obviously given his offensive play this far into the season, the success that the Bulls have had. But I think that it'll all be worth it if, one, they have playoff success this season, and two, if they go out next season, they actually make a big splash.
You know, I don't know. DeMar to Dallas, I don't know if he would have played at the same level because Luka's so ball dominant. I don't know.
They don't play at a high tempo.
Yeah,
Chicago
we're very
plays at a very high
up
tempo.
and down.
That's true.
We move the ball.
That's true, and that's
I think
that's
Lowry
more
would have been
catered
more better for Dallas.
Lowry would have solidified. Lowry would have gave them.
But then what happens with Jalen Brunson?
He's off the bench right now.
No, for sure. But then what would the lineup be? You obviously have to start Lowry.
You start Luka, then you start Hardaway Jr.
For sure, you have to.
Finney-Smith.
And then Dwight Powell or KP. Right now, it's Dwight Powell and KP at the 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But then I feel like we don't see that emergence from Jalen Brunson that we're
you
seeing
still get
this
it.
season.
And then you can play both of them in the back.
I mean, last year
he's up 4 points from last year.
You can play. Brunson is an inch shorter than Tyler Hero. You can play both of them in the backcourt, like Lowry and Brunson, and both of them play good defense. So, and both of them move the ball. Both of them can shoot, and they're playmakers. So, having two playmakers in the backcourt along with Luka,
this is the thing. This is why I think people are now catching up to what Jalen Brunson is doing. But last year, he averaged 13. He's playing 5 more minutes this season, but he averaged 13 last season. Shot 52% from the field and 40% from 3.
Yeah, he was a solid ball player last year.
I don't think he's playing I don't think he's playing better this season.
He's just getting more.
He's just getting more minutes.
But that's exactly
and he got
what I'm
a chance to start.
You would have brought in Lowry,
but he's not starting right now though. He would have still. Even if Lowry went to Dallas, Brunson would have played 25 to 30 minutes a game.